Good morning, parents. Morning, everybody. Can you say good morning to the person next to you? And the other side. And if you don't have a person next to you, now's the chance to stand up and find a person next to you because you're going to need a partner. So my name is Kiara Gray, and I'm Deputy Head of Lower Primary, so I'm responsible for little people, all things little people. Teaching little people how to read, teaching little people how to write, teaching little people the rules. Your children may come to see me if they move up the beehive. One of my friends sent me a text over the weekend, and she said, "My child is pretending to be you. My child's pretending to be Mrs. Gray." I thought that's very odd. But it's very exciting. So you might know me in a range of different ways, but today I'm going to talk to you about phonics and spelling. Phonics and spelling is very different to how we learned as children. When I was in school, it was Letterland. Was anybody else Letterland? And then over the years, it's changed. You may know Jolly Phonics. There's letters and sounds in the UK, and then there's Read, Write, Ink. Now, as a school, we looked at our results with phonics and spelling, and we felt that our children needed a bit more support with this. And so that's why we invested in this really wonderful scheme. We had a trainer from the UK come out and teach us best practice for read writing so that we were able to really fully support the children with this. Now, we've been running it for 2 years now, and we're really pleased with the results. They've become really confident spellers. Now, before you become a confident speller, you need to have really good phonics. And before you have really good phonics, you need to be at school every day, happy to be here and excited to learn. And that's what this scheme does. It makes sure that children learn in a way that suits their needs. You know that when you were in school, you learned in lots of different ways. Maybe you were a visual learner. Maybe you like to draw pictures or use colored pens. Maybe you were an auditory learner, so you like to listen. You would read things out loud over and over and over. Maybe you were a kinesthetic learner, so you needed to move things around to feel like you fully understood them. Now, that's the same with this spelling scheme. It offers children a range of opportunities to learn so that they fully embedded. When I was in school, you would learn spelling. You would learn all your 10 off by heart. Your mum would drill you on the way to school. Can you spell it? Yes, I can. Can you spell it? Yes, you can. You get to school, you'd write it out, and then you'd forget all about them. The next week, you'd go, "Oh, how do I spell that?" And you would never remember them. Now, what this Read, Write, Ink does is move away from that and make sure that it's fully embedded in a child's learning and understanding of vocabulary so they're able to access it. So it's a bit like giving them the puzzle pieces so that when they need to build the puzzle, they're ready to do that. So today we'll start off with phonics, and then we'll build up onto spelling. It's going to be interactive. If you have questions, ask them. But I will be going through lots of information, and I'm going to try and make it as interactive as possible. But don't worry, you won't be in too much trouble. So these are the resources that we use. Some of you will have heard of Fred the Frog. Put your hand up if you've heard of Fred the Frog. So Fred the Frog is a really fun little teddy. He's over here. And what he does is when he sits on the teacher's shoulder, she can only say the sounds in the word. She can't say the whole word. So it's really important for children to know how to blend and how to segment, how to say the sounds in every word. So we've got Fred. We've got flashcards, a variety of flashcards. Over here we've got the picture flashcards for Maisie Mountain Mountain. We have green word cards. Now green words are words that can be spelled phonetically. At, sad. Now, if you look at these words, not all of them can be spelled phonetically, so we need to learn how to spell them off by heart. If we know how to spell these words off by heart, the first 100 high-frequency words, we can read 50% of texts. So it's really important that we know how to read these words, but also be able to spell words phonetically, so you have to have the combination of the two. We have the sound charts, so the different ways to make all the different sounds. We know F doesn't necessarily just have to be the letter F, it can also be a PH. So the children will learn how to make different sounds. We have the storybooks, the phonetic storybooks that go along with the scheme. And these are really important because the children are using their phonics to be able to decode a text. What a wonderful feeling. They can read. They can use all the sounds that they're familiar with to put words together and read a book. Now, we have to have a balance here because we'll have these books. We have library books. We also have home reading books. And we do that purposefully. To be able to read a phonetic book, you just need your phonic awareness. To be able to read any book, you need a lot of different skills. If you're reading a story and it says to you, the girl was wearing mittens and gloves and a hat, you would know what season it is. If you're reading a phonic book, it's going to be really limited, the vocabulary, to what you can actually decode. So you're never going to get a really lovely storyline. You're not going to get inferential text that you can find information through inference or deduction. You're not going to be able to really think about some strong vocabulary because it's all going to be based on what you can read with your phonics. So we have to have a combination of the phonics books as well as the home reading books so that we can develop really great story writers. Because if you're just limited, you're not going to have that story awareness. Right, so the structure of read writing is sounds are split into 3 groups. Set 1 sounds, m, as, d, t. Can you say that with your partner, please? Lovely, pure sounds. I didn't hear any t. It's a t, t, t. And absolutely, you will. And there's also, in a minute, a video of someone doing the sounds too, just in case you want to take that home. And then we have our set 2 sounds. So these are what we call digraphs or trigraphs. 2 sounds that come together to make two letters that come together to make a sound. A is the first one. What's the second one? Ooh, brilliant. So A, E, I, O, U. Then we have some split digraphs. So A, as in make a cake. We have E, I, O, U. So these sounds are the same, but they look completely different. So that's what children need to be aware of, and you need to build on that awareness. Each session will teach the child to say the sound. That's really important, because if they say the sound, they can then read the sound. If they read the sound, they can then write the sound. But if they sing the sound as t, they're going to write T-U. And that's when spelling errors happen, when children try to spell something phonetically, but do not have the pure sounds. Each session lasts about 30 minutes, and timetables have been allowed for streaming. So what will have happened in the first 6 weeks of school is children are tested by the teachers. They sit down, they love it. They think it's really fun. I remember a child last year coming to me going, "When is it my turn?" They really like doing it because they think it's one-to-one fun. But what happens is the teacher looks at what sounds they're really confident with and then works on what they need to do next. So no child is accessing something that's too challenging. At the same time, no child is accessing something that's too simple, and they're going to lose interest. So we do that. From reception, the children go into different phonic classes, and it really works very well. And what they will do is set 1 sound, so there will be the introduction to those sounds, and they will follow the following lesson. So I'll go back to that in a minute. They learn how to say the sound. So, my turn, your turn, my turn, your turn. Show your partner. Lovely. Right. Now, it's a stretchy sound. Can you hear that? It's not a short sound like a b. If you think of a b, it's really short and bouncy. So we have stretchy sounds and we have bouncy sounds. B. B. Can you see the difference? So we've got stretchy and bouncy. We learn how to read the sound. So what does it look like? We'll look at it in a board, we'll look at it in a word, and we'll make sure that they know the phrase. So is Maisie, mountain, mountain. Not everybody's saying it. Maisie, mountain, mountain. Maisie, mountain, mountain. Perfect. Now that's really good, because as they go to do the formation, they're remembering Maisie, mountain, mountain. They're saying the sound and they're remembering the little rhyme to help them form the letters. So they air write it first. Now with anything, children at that age need to have bigger body movements before they can have smaller body movements. They need to have muscle memory. So the way we get our muscles to remember things is to make bigger, smaller, smaller, smaller until they're ready. So they would air write the letter M. And what would happen is the teacher would watch and make sure everybody's starting in the right place. We have some children who like to start M's at the bottom, but we start a M at the top. We go down, Maisie, mountain, mountain. Show your partner, please. Mountain, mountain. Right. Now, if you remember, M is quite a tricky one, because when do you stop? When you were in school and you had to do a little letter M, it's kind of like M, W, they get quite confusing. That's why Maisie, mountain, mountain. Stop. They know how to form it. Then they'll do some speed writing, so they might copy any 3 sounds they've learned to date. So if they're doing set 1 sounds, they might be M, at, or M, as, or S, at. Any 3 sounds, and then they will look at, can they build any words? And then they have word time where they read the books that go along with it, over here. Now, these are the sound cards. We have them in smaller and bigger sizes. So we have them in A4. The children love looking at them. And then they get the opportunity to look at the picture, and on the back is the sound. So we're going to have a little practice. Right, I'm going to let you listen to the pure sounds. Yes. There's lots of read, write, ink resources, and the Oxford Owl website, there are some on there too. Now, what will happen is your child will get the sheet that you've got, or if they're in that phonics group, they will get those sheets that you can practice with them. They will also soon start to get a book bag book. So if they're in a phonics group, they'll get a little book that goes along, which has got all the sound charts at the beginning, and lots of things for you to do with them within the books. So normally they start reception. So at term 3, nursery, we do it, and then they'll go reception onwards. Every child, you may well be in year 2 accessing phonics, you might well be in year 3 accessing phonics. So it's just dependent on where the child is at. We're not limited by age. If a child needs set 1 sounds in year 4, they get that at that age. Sure. Yes, every letter. Right, I will send links to you. I'll attach some links at the end so you can have a little look, some homework for you to look at. But they all have a little sound that goes along with them. Right, so here is someone saying the pure sounds.
These are the set 1 sounds. These are the stretchy sounds. Oh, These are the bouncy sounds. B, k, k, d, g, h, j, p, qu, ch, w, x, y, ch, 2 sounds. These are the long vowels. A, E, I, O, U, R, O, ow, oi. These are the last set big sounds to learn. Aya, ear, yaw.
I'm sure that took a long time to put together. That poor person who had to put that together. But as you can see, there's no trailing sound behind the words. Oftentimes children put a fa or a ba. There's no sound at the end. Right. So we're going to do the Maisie Mountain sheet. So this is what we would do to reinforce a sound that's taught is a child would bring this home. So grab your pencil. I want to see everybody using their lovely pencil grip. Take a look at the person next to you. Are they ready? If they're not ready, give them a gentle tap. Say, come on now. Right, holding your pencil with your tripod grip. So 3 fingers, holding your pencil. Lovely. Right, let's start. Can you have a look at your paper? There are 4 pictures that start with a What's the first one? Mouse, lovely. And the next one? Mountain. Oh, we're going to look more at mountains in a minute. What else? And the last one? Moon, lovely. Right, now we're going to trace along the Maisie Mountain. So everybody, I want to see your 3 fingers and down, Maisie, mountain. As you're doing it, can you say Maisie Mountain, please? Make sure you're following the direction of the arrow. Down, up, over, Maisie Mountain. Once you've done that, put your pencil in the air so I know you finished your first row. Lovely. Good listening, everyone. Right, now you are going to get the chance to practice in the box below, but you're not going to be able to trace. You're going to have a go by yourselves. Are you ready? Right, can you do 5 examples for me? So trace over the first one, and then 5 examples. Let's see some lovely handwriting. I'm not hearing Maisie Mountain. Right, can you look at the persons next to you and say, well done? I saw some lovely Maisie Mountains. Now, as a child, you could see why that's really good, because you're getting the visual, you're doing it, the kinesthetic, and you're hearing it. So if you're a visual learner, you've got the prompts. If you're an auditory learner, you're hearing yourself and everyone else say it. If you're a kinesthetic learner, you're doing it. So there's opportunity to do that. Now, initially in the sheet, you scaffolded, really nicely scaffolded. One step that I should have done that we forgot at the very beginning is with our finger, we would have traced over the nice big mms at the very top. So we would have got that nice big feeling. We would have looked at it in sounds and in words. Then we would have had the scaffolded bit where we could trace. And then we remove the scaffolding and let children attempt it by themselves. So you see it's very structured, but quite fun. They really like doing it. So that's how we practice the Maisie Mountain sound. Now, if we're looking at the set 2, 3 sounds, you were very good at the O and the A sound, blow the snow and may I play. And these little rhymes really help the children. Their favorite one is poo at the zoo. And it really helps them remember the oo sound. Every time I'm in a lesson and they poo at the zoo, they look at me like, oh, are we going to get in trouble for this? But no, it really helps them to remember the sound that they're looking for. So, when we're looking at reading the set 2 and 3 sounds, what would happen is I would show the picture just like we did. We did my turn, your turn. Now, the other thing is we would look at these, and these are what we call special friends, because these two need to be together to make a new sound. So we have 2 letters, 1 sound. Can you do that for me? 2 letters, 1 sound. So the children know I need to do 2 separate letters to make that sound. So when I'm writing it, I don't just write B, L, O. I need to do the W too. And then we would show it on the poster. Now, we played the game, May I Play, and turned it around and made it lots of fun. The children really do enjoy that. These are the simple sounds that the children learn. These are sounds that can be made, so F makes a F sound, L makes a L sound. I want you and your partner to see how many of these you know. Off you go with the person next to you, please. Right, now what got tricky was the vowel row. You want to say A, E, I, O, U, don't you? And what is it? A, E, O, U. Now my husband is a teacher, and when he reads phonics books to my little boy, I hear him going, C for cat. It breaks my heart because he should know better. It's k for cat, not C for cat. So just be aware that when we're teaching children to read, we don't need to be using letter names at all. It's really important, actually, that they don't learn letter names. Lots of parents think they're being helpful by going A, B, C, but actually, when you're learning to read, none of that is helpful. It's all A, B, K. Right, now we look at the green cards. So these are words that you can spell phonetically. At, mad. Now, underneath, we have sound buttons, so that the children know how many sounds are in each word. So if we do at, your turn. Let's see your sound buttons. At. And you might point to them. You might say at. Let's try mad. 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 So the children are aware, again, there's 3 symbols in that word. And then we go to write it. So it's really important that, again, we learn multisensory, so they say it. They need to be able to say it to read it. They need to be able to read it to write it, and it has to be in that order. And we would ask the children initially to do it on whiteboards. Whiteboards are a lot more fun. They're a lot less scary than writing with a pencil. If you make a mistake on a whiteboard, it's gone in a second. If you make a mistake on it with a pencil, you have to find a rubber and then rub it out. And so whiteboards are a really good way. Also, initially, you can make the letters as big as you need to and then work on making them smaller and smaller. We use a lot of my turn, your turn. So the teacher models. This is how it is. You have a go. This is how it is, you have a go. So not everyone's speaking at the same time. The children can hear what they should be saying, but they can also hear what their friends around them are saying, so they can self-correct if they need to. Right, so then we get our red words. So the red words work together with our storybooks. So you might have some phonics words within there, but you will also have these red words that are unavoidable. Words that we use on a frequent basis, like the word the. If you spelt the word the phonetically, it spells tehe. So that's why we need to learn how to spell these 100 words, these red words, to be able to access the texts. So what will happen is the children will work in pairs. They'll be given a book. At the front of the book, they might go through the letter sounds. That's the sound chart I showed you earlier. They'll go through that, just a reminder, make sure that everyone's ready. And then they'll look at some of the red words that they're going to look at in the text. So it's almost like a pre-teach activity, so that when they get to it later on in the book, it's not a surprise, it's not a shock. They've seen it before. Now, it's a spelling test time. Parents often ask, why do we do spelling up the school? They're in year 6. Why do they need to spell? Well, it's your turn to find out why we learn spelling. So we're going to do a test. No Google. So if you've got your phone out, put it away. Right, the first word we are looking at today is questionnaire. Questionnaire. I hope you didn't see that. Next one, liaison. I'm going to have to do this so I can see. I wrote it on a post-it, but I forgot my post-it. Just so no one's cheating. The next word is liquefy. Liquefy. Then connoisseur, or connoisseur. It's tricky to say, let alone write. Don't worry if you get it wrong. We use it in English, don't we? So it's a tricky one, that English. Don't worry if you make a mistake, have a go. It doesn't matter if you get it wrong. We'd rather you write something than nothing. Next one, diphtheria. Now, I hope children aren't often writing about diphtheria, but they may do. Diphtheria. And the last one, maneuver. Maneuver. How many are you confident you spelled correct? Right, there are the answers. Check your work, please. Did anybody get them all correct? Right, this is why we teach spelling. In your defense, I did Google which are the hardest words in the world to spell, and this is what came up. But I did want to show you that no matter where you are, and no matter what your level of English is, there are still words that we need to learn how to spell. And that's why spelling is as important lower down the school as it is up the school, especially in reluctant writers. So what we find is that sometimes children who've been writing for a very long time become less excited and less motivated about writing. They don't want to do it as much. It's not as fun. And so why would you try and spell the word enormous when it's really easy just to write the word big? But that then doesn't showcase what the child is capable of. Because if enormous is a word that you use on a day-to-day basis in your language, then it should be in your written language. But if you're not going to have a go because it's just too challenging and not as exciting, then you're going to not get the same quality of text from that child. So it's really important that children feel empowered to have a go, that they feel excited. If they get it wrong, that's okay. I'd rather, and all teachers would rather, a child spelled enormous incorrectly and had a go at writing enormous, then just wrote the word big. So that's really important for us to reiterate with our children that if they're going to have a go at spelling ambitious vocabulary, have a go. If it's spelled incorrectly, that doesn't matter. Rather, just use those exciting words. You'll learn to spell them eventually. It's said that a person needs to see a word 2,000 times for it to become part of their vocabulary. See here, a word 2,000 times. That's a lot of times. So if they do spell it incorrectly initially, that's okay. So the spelling is slightly different to our phonics. They run in spelling groups in the same way, but they'll do different sounds every day, and they have a book that they work through. So within each spelling session, there's a variety of activities that they'll do on repeat. There's 3 aliens that they meet. There's a little video that starts off, and they meet their 3 aliens, and as they go up the school, the aliens get older, and they introduce things to the children. Now, they don't only introduce spelling, they also introduce things like grammar and things, parts of text like synonyms, antonyms, that kind of thing. So what will happen is they do a speed spell. So it's looking at what they found challenging last time and giving them the opportunity to go over it again. Not just I've written in a book, that's it, I'm done. You get to go back to it and really reinforce words and reinforce vocabulary so that children really understand it and it embeds in their vocabulary. We do spelling zone, so this is what the little video they watch with the aliens. Then we do dots and dashes. So just like you did the sound buttons for the words at, add, mad, they do the same with the longer spelling words. When they do a dash, that's special friends, the 2 sounds, 1 word, 2 letters, 1 sound. Rapid recap is where the children quickly go through what they've learned previously. Word changes help us to look at root words, prefixes, suffixes, happy, happier, happiest, and teaching children those rules. And then also looking at where those rules don't apply. Monkey, monkeys, and then when it becomes a YS or an IES. Then there's words to log and learn. So children have the opportunity to go back and write down any words that they're finding tricky. And this is really good because they're self-evaluating. What am I finding hard? They're reflecting on that. They're making a note of that. And then they can go back throughout the spelling and write down words that they're finding challenging. We do a dictation. Now, this is good in a number of ways. It seems very old-fashioned dictation. If you remember your days, the teacher used to walk around. But what's really good about dictation is children are holding words in their head. It's increasing their working memory because they're having to listen, remember what someone's saying, and then write it down. So there's a lot of skills that they use for dictation. It helps them also to think about things like finger spaces, sentence structure, and then looking at how we can punctuate that sentence. Then there's games, 4 in a row, so they play with a partner. There's lots of partner work in this. It's not all about me learning my words, it's about us learning our words. And then choose the right word, so it looks at word families, it reinforces spellings. Then there's team teach, so they get the opportunity to be the teacher and teach each other, which they enjoy. And then there's the red and orange words, the words that we looked at, the tricky words. So there's lots of different activities within a spelling session that the children get to engage with. There's also the opportunity to use whiteboards. There's also the opportunity to use a range of other tools too, so that every child is engaged throughout the spelling session. Our goal is not for children to learn 10 words off by heart and then forget them the next week. Our goal is for them to become part of that child's vocabulary. So when they read them, they think, oh, I know that word. When they want to have a go at spelling something challenging later on, they've got the tools in their toolkit to be able to do that. So that's how we teach spelling and phonics at Dover Court.